What were your takeaways from this one, bud? Zach Wilson getting the start for the injured Mike White. Curious as to hear if this goes into your what matters most, but just overall, what'd you think about the game?
What matters most to me on the Jets side is that they have built an offense that Zach Wilson is not effectively playing in. And what I'm trying to outline is you watch this game, right, Trevor? Let's just start if you didn't watch the game. You look at the game, Zach Wilson, 18 to 35, 317 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. You can then go, that's not the worst day for Zach Wilson. It's not the worst day for any second-year quarterback.
Right.
But when you watch him play, I've been overusing this line today, whether it was SNY postgame or whatever. The best analogy I come up with is Zach Wilson playing quarterback for the Jets in their offense is literally turning on the GPS with no tolls. It's the avenues they have to take to get to the destination with him. It drives you crazy. It drives you crazy. And you're just sitting there and going, this is a sequence, right? At the end of the game. And this end of the game sequence kind of was a really good microcosm for a lot of the game. And I'm curious to go back and watch the film on this to see the throws he didn't attempt. You'll have a play, Trevor, where time matters and he takes a sack in a situation you can't take a sack. Then the next play, it's 2nd and 19, and he'll miss a streaking, very open Elijah Moore or Braxton Berrios. And you're like, that's a throw you got to hit. And then it's 3rd and 19 or 4th and 19, and he runs around and makes a throw that one of 5 guys in the world can make for the conversion.
Right.
And it's like, we didn't need to do that. Like, we didn't need to. And I guess some people will probably argue, well, I'd rather have the guy that could do that because the rest will get it better. When is the rest going to get better?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not. It's not. The reality of this game is, and we'll talk a lot of Lions because it's a huge win for the Lions. We obviously really like the Lions. There's no taking away from them in this game. But the Jets side of it, both these teams are 7-7 now. The Jets are right outside looking in on the AFC playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how their season finishes, how the Lions season finishes. If anyone watching the game that knows football, Zach Wilson should have thrown for over 400 yards today. And it makes you wonder what Mike White would have done with the way he was playing within this offense. The Jets have constructed a drop-back offense that is based on timing and all of these different things that doesn't align with Zach Wilson's style of football. And that is what matters to most of the Jets right now is, do you go forward with someone like that, or do you go forward with somebody that fits what you're trying to do? And they need to figure that out in this offseason. It's the biggest question the franchise could face.
Yeah, I mean, look, hats off to the Lions. This is a massive victory. Getting this on the road, them being able to have the streak that they're on right now to even keep themselves in playoff contention is huge. It was another good game from Jared Goff. I mean, Ben Johnson's their offensive coordinator, man. I don't know. Great
job from him.
I don't know if he wants to be a head coach. We'll see, I guess. I mean, it feels a little early just because his ascension to like position coach to now like play caller, and now like people are going like, oh, he could be a head coach next. That just feels really fast. So I don't know if we're going to get there yet, but he's clearly one of the best young coaching minds in the game. That offense is playing so well, even without a lot of like heavy hitters that you can go to with the ball all the time. So Lions, hats off. Your team's in an incredible spot. You're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. But for the Jets specifically, and I knew we'd talk a little bit more Jets, I wondered what you were going to say about Wilson, because just from watching it, I was watching this a lot on Red Zone, and then I was trying to keep up with like Twitter and what reporters are saying and everything. It didn't feel like Zach Wilson really had a game where it's like, okay, this guy's the man moving forward. And
no,
Wilson has kind of solidified his reputation of he was just the highlight reel plays. He wasn't the stuff that you see in between that.
Quarterbacking.
And I, obviously like the BYU stuff, you go back to his scouting. And a lot of people just watch a lot of the highlight stuff because that's what scouting's all about, right? That's what we're taught. Tell me what this guy can do. We'll figure out the rest. We'll tune up the rest. The mundane stuff, the play-to-play, the little things, we can work on that. Give me a guy who can hit the ceiling. Tell me what he is capable of. And I felt like the Jets drafted him off of what he was capable of. And a lot of people liked him through the draft process because of what he was capable of. But there were also a lot of people that pointed out the play-to-play stuff the regular structured things, you go, not exactly handling the pocket well, not exactly managing pressure well, not exactly looking where he should to throw. And like, those are things that were worrisome going into his NFL career. We're almost 2 years in and he still hasn't figured those things out. He'll still hit the throw at the end of the game to put you within field goal range, but he won't do the smart stuff to avoid having to do that. And I think that's where we are with Zach Wilson. And my one thing that mattered most from this game was going to be, I think it would send a really bad message to the team if Mike White is healthy enough to play next week and you don't go back to him.
It can't happen.
Because, like I said, Wilson, where he obviously sounded more mature at the press conference, but you knew that was going to happen because he was reprimanded about it and he lost his job about it before. So he clearly wasn't going to repeat those same mistakes. So you knew that was coming anyways. But he already had kind of the faults of those. The big play to get them into field goal range. Yes, that's what people are going to show kind of on ESPN and SportsCenter and all that stuff. But it was the in-between stuff that really failed. The stat sheet is going to read, I think, pleasantly for him. But the play-by-play stuff, I just don't think was there for him. He didn't warrant like, okay, this is the guy moving forward. This is the guy that we've got to play. Because let's face it, too. This would be a huge stretch for Zach Wilson. These next 3 games would have been huge for him to play in to make sure that he could solidify that he's the quarterback next year. But as of right now and after that performance, Robert Saleh made the tough choice to go with Mike White over Zach Wilson. And he did it, we talked about on this show, for the right reasons. Mike White gutted his heart out last week. To have Zach Wilson as still the starting quarterback and to basically tell Mike White, you lost your job because you got hurt and we need to try to see if we can fix our perhaps failed number 2 overall pick. It's a bad message to send, man. And so I think for a myriad of reasons, both on the field and off the field, you got to go to Mike White next week if he's healthy. So that was my one thing that mattered most.
The tough thing is they're on the short week. They play Thursday night against the Jags. So
damn,
we don't know if Mike White will be cleared by the doctors. This is
so complicated.
If anyone having a conspiracy theory out there that this was their way to play Wilson again, you're just wrong. I don't know what to tell you. Like Mike White has fractured ribs, or rib, whatever it was. He couldn't get cleared to play. I'm not going down that road.
Half slab, third slab.
Start listening to smarter people. But seriously, yeah, you're right, Trevor. And it just goes back to and I think they will go back to White if he's healthy enough to play, but will the season matter when he's healthy enough to play?